Hey guys, so let's see if this works here. She's gonna check it out. Turn the volume down there.
Okay, guys, hold on, bear
Go to
with
the main.
us.
There you go, and
Okay.
I think we're live.
Okay, wonderful. Thanks, guys, for
Let
your
me check
patience.
one more time here. Thanks for your patience. It just means it's going to be good. That's all.
Mm-hmm.
As we have some great stuff to share, and yep, there we go.
Okay.
All right. So we just, bottom line, we don't need to go into details. We just had some technical difficulties. So yeah, it's interesting. All the stuff that's happening today and every day. As you can tell, maybe some things have been happening in your life that have brought a level of frustration, or just some areas that have been highlighted and you're like, okay, time to go a little deeper. So Amy and I have had a lot of things happen very quickly as far as awakening and ascension, and today we wanted to share about what it looks like to lay down the fixer, lay down the controller in our life, and become the receiver. And there's a lot that goes into that, but there's different ways to look at this. So yeah, this, to all those that don't know, this is our Home Over Hustle live call, and it's real.
Thank you for sticking
and
out
it's
with us,
raw.
guys.
It's real and it's
Real and
raw,
raw.
and that's the way we want it to be. Yeah, Janine, we're on. So if you want to jump on, we are live. You might want to message her too.
Okay,
and then, yeah, hey, Terry, good to see you.
Terry.
You can turn the volume down there, and then you'll be fine. Yeah, so think about it this way, you guys. You can turn the volume down so we don't hear the clicking there.
I will turn it off. It's down.
Anyway,
I did put it on.
look at it this way, is that
Minnesota.
when we are engaged in any kind of discourse, whether that's with our family, we got relatives and family get-togethers coming up, you know how this goes. Sometimes we get stuck in the fix-it mode, and if you're not a fixer, you're more of a empathizer, you're more of a listener. That's awesome. You're halfway to ascension in greater ways. But one of the things I've been noticing with politics, and I want to bring this up for a reason, because I think it's so front and center in our face today. Meaning, especially in America, we have people that listen from around the world, but in America, the politics have been hot lately. Meaning that hot tempers, hot flare-ups, hot opinions, and my way.
Fight to be right.
Fight to be right. And Amy and I were talking about this, about how awakening works. Think about your own life for a minute. Whenever you have an epiphany and you begin to awaken in a certain area, whether it's very small or very large, it can really be overwhelming sometimes, because you've awakened. Say you've come out of an institution, whether that's a government institution, an educational or church institution, and you realize something. You realize, wow, I've been duped to a degree, or I've been full-blown, I've been abused in some way, I've been spiritually traumatized, or whatever it may be. And you begin to get angry about that, because you woke up and then you saw the light for what it was. And then you want to tell the whole world, right? The problem is that hey, Andrew, good to see you guys.
Cool.
The problem with that is that sometimes we want to share with the entire planet this impulse of an awakening or an epiphany or a truth very quickly. And Amy and I are poster children for this, where we used to just blast it out there, especially me with my type of personality. And it was meant to be pureed and absorbed first. So you can't just feed babies steak and meat and all that kind of stuff, right? It has to be pureed. Same with the elderly. You notice if they have any kind of aspiration effects, any kind of medical conditions going on, the older someone gets, and then they can't begin to chew and puree and emulsify that food, then they will choke to death. And so look at it this with revelation and awakening. Oftentimes we just want to share something that is so bright and brilliant to us, but it's meant to be chewed upon, absorbed, pureed, and then dispensed at a certain time frame. So I want to mention the politics real quick, because on that note is oftentimes people kind of, especially believers, they side with the conservative point of view. And so then they'll go into...
Understandably.
Yeah, understandably. So then they'll go into politics that way. They'll see through that worldview. And so who's really hot right now on the political side of things? It's Tucker Carlson, Candace Owens, Ben Shapiro, and others. Okay, so I'm just using this as an example, you guys. Right now there's a big feud between a lot of these guys because Tucker Carlson has had an epiphany, okay? And I'm not saying this is right or wrong. I'm just giving an example that's front and center to the world. Had an epiphany about Israel. And he says, paraphrased of course, something to the effect of, hey, guys, should I be supporting the modern day Israel that's committing genocide, trying to wipe whole people group out, and all these atrocities and taking people out in certain times and periods throughout history? Okay, that's his viewpoint. I'm not saying that we agree with everything here. I'm just giving a case in point. He's had a revelation. Well, because of the status quo in the conservative field on the other sides, and they don't want to look at anything outside of a certain paradigm, it's all MAGA, all MAGA, all MAGA, or all red, all red, all red for Republican, right? Conservative. And so anything that looks like it's outside of that grid will be labeled as poison or demonic, or somebody's completely deceived. And we're really seeing this front and center, not only in our lives, but then on the world stage, is that, okay, instead of leaning in with an understanding ear, we immediately want to demonize. And this has happened to us. I'm sure it's happened to you. When you've had an awakening and you left the institutional church, for example, then you're like labeled as what? As you're labeled as deceived, listening to the devil, you've bought into the lie, you're a heretic, and so on and so on. So we're transitioning in this awakening. Yeah, we're transitioning in this awakening from defender and fixer to receiver.
Yeah, it is really true, and it's so tempting, isn't it, you guys? We have all been there. I mean, it goes back to when we were probably first born again, saved too, right? We do it at so many different levels in life. Yeah. You know, we get saved, we had this amazing encounter, and so we're telling everybody, and they're like, but because they haven't experienced it for themselves, then you get kind of written off as like, oh, what are you, greater than us now? And, or okay, it's just a phase, And so again, it's like surrendering to the bloom of actually releasing the bloom and the essence and the fragrance and the nectar to where the bees actually come, versus us just going around with the megaphones and ribbon, or awake, get woke up, like, what's wrong with you guys? Why aren't you seeing this? You need this. So then you go into all the shoulds when you're trying to get free of shoulds.
Yeah, it's a shitty way of living.
Yeah.
And by the way, on the should thing, we did start a whole new series. Some of you know about it. Thank you again, Janine.
Yeah, Janine and Andy got one.
Yeah,
hoodie.
We designed a whole line of awakening wear, basically, to get people to really think of why they should do stuff. So it's called Shouldy Designs, because no one should be shooting on you. And if you want to check it out, it's shoodydesigns.com. And it's really an example of, okay, should we be forcing stuff on people when it's not our job to awaken people? We can't awaken anyone, in case you haven't noticed.
But it's so tempting.
It's so tempting.
Oh, it's so tempting.
Especially over the holidays, right?
I have seen the light, right?
Yeah.
And you're wanting people to experience what you're experiencing. But they gotta taste it first, right? It's that people don't care how much you know till they know how much you care, right? And so it goes back to emanating and the fragrance. Let them see it. Let them taste and see first, and then inquire, because nobody likes to be told what to do. You know the whole thing. Oh, 7:30 p.m. That's not too bad across the pond. Good to see you.
Yeah. So, there's this idea that, thanks, Janine. There's this idea, that Andrew,
Thank you.
not Andrew, excuse me, Zach Bush talks about rebirth. And let's chew on this for a minute. Rebirth, born again, we hear this language in the church, and then outside of the church world, people use the terminology rebirth. And, there's this thought process in the whole institutional world, the whole church world, religion, that says, I'm born again once, and that's it. And so some people just park there, and then I've got Jesus, and so I'm going to mosey on with my life, right? We know people like that. I'm sure you do too. It's just like born again, one and done. Whereas when you look at your own life, this is more like a constant rebirth, a constant born again, constantly. It's a death cycle, resurrection.
Like
death,
trees,
resurrection,
their leaves,
like nature.
like the leaves of the tree and the fruit, right? The seasons of winter, fall, winter, spring, summer. They all have different functions and purposes, and then they rebirth again in the spring. Everything goes, and then new leaves come forth in the spring, and then fruit in the summer, and new growth, new expansion, right? And we were thinking about this with just our faith, and how some people will just stay in that one little box or the one little church, and they camp there for who knows what, 20 years, because bless God, I am a faithful, loyal person. But they're stunted. It's no different than a plant that you keep in a pot. It's going to stay at that size, or a goldfish in the bowl. It's going to stay at that size. Where if you look at creation, God designed it to bloom and expand and then grow and then reach out, and the network designed, look at the network underneath with trees. And so again, I think we're really returning back, if we're willing, to witness nature and let God speak and remind us how his ways work. Because we've gotten so far off into our logics of wanting to control things. We'll have a little bit of nature, but we want to control how it works and keep it in a box.
Well, and then the whole thing in your life, look at your personal life. It's when I have something that's challenging me, it's a mirror to me, whether it's a person, situation, or circumstance. It's real easy to let the ego flare up and resist, or flare up and point and try to correct or fix an individual, because after all, you're mirroring something to me that I don't like. But really what that is, it's we're facing a death cycle individually all the time and collectively as a whole. If people would really understand this, that it's not demons, it's not the devil that's trying to take you out, that, darkness is a given, okay, guys? But we're looking at something that's far greater. It's the rebirth cycle. So when something challenging is facing us, it's just like one of the seasons that Amy talked about. Oh, I'm in wintertime. Yeah. So I'm being faced with a lot of mirroring right now. And people are challenging things. People are looking at, and I'm looking at them and they're looking at me. And then it's like, oh, okay, it's wintertime. My leaves are falling off. And it's time to go deep, like she said, deep. Yeah. So that the rebirth cycle can happen, so that when springtime comes, there's a resurrection, and then on it goes. Yeah. And this is
a greater yield of
it's hundreds and millions of times over and over and over again. Yeah. And we think that there's something wrong with us.
Yeah, because the ego, the ego and the false matrix, they want to keep us in a very controlled box of this is how it is, this is how it's always going to be, and don't you dare expand and grow. So, you guys know that, right? It's false matrix, all about you're designed to be controlled pretty much. And so, but look at God again with the seasons and the nature. And, he even told me this morning, I was talking to him, and he said, you're looking at how to produce fruit. You want to produce fruit through all the seasons. And he goes, but do you know what season I have you in right now? I'm like, oh. I said, you've got me in a winter season. And he goes, that's right. And he goes, what's the purpose of it? I'm like, deep root growth. He goes, yes. He goes, so it's okay. You don't have to be producing in every phase and every season. It's not all the way through. You know, it's designated for a certain time, and without the fruit can't be what it is without the depth of the other 3 seasons, right?
Yeah.
So again, it's coming into that awareness and surrendering to it and receiving what this particular season has for me or for you.
Yeah.
And so being okay with it, you know, acceptance is receiving, isn't it?
Yeah, and I tell you what's golden, you guys, and really look at your own life when somebody comments you and says, whoa, where did that wisdom come from? Well, it's your rebirth cycle. It's wisdom, real deep level wisdom that causes someone to lean in and pay attention, comes through, unfortunately, a lot of pain. It doesn't have to always be that way, but depending on how strong our egoic construct is and how much we want to anchor in and resist this rebirth process. The more we resist, the more it persists. So when we begin to see it, oh, that's what that is. So that I'm here to do what? I'm here to be unconditional love. Now, all these conditions that I am resisting with need to dissolve. And if they persist, it means that the conditions that I have, like, oh, you're wrong, I'm right, oh, you're one of those people, all these judgments, resistance, right? The more that happens, then the cycle comes and you're like, I'm going to resist it. Well, things break when you resist, right?
Yeah. Why am I not getting fruit out of me? Why, right? It's like, oh,
Hey, Ryan.
I better look and see what season I'm in right now. Hey, Ryan. Hey, guys, we're loving all your comments coming in. We're seeing them even though we're talking and just feeling the love. So, but yeah, it's so true though. Like, you know what you're saying.
Yeah, it's
about the seasons.
And resisting versus non-resistance. And so the more we resist, the more we become the fixer. So we embolden and we strengthen the fixer all the way to colon cancer. This is why it's number 1 in the world right now. Cancer, specifically colon cancer, is number 1 in the world, especially with men. Why? Because the fixer is compressing their anger right down into the colon, and it compacts things into dead cells. It's like this. The compressed anger, the suppressed anger, because we've been digging our heels in and saying I'm resistant to change, is like a fireplace without a chimney. The smoke has to go somewhere. So it goes into sometimes one section of the house, and then it begins to deaden, if you will, that section of the house. You're the house. You're the temple. And so cancer comes about because it's deadened that area. And so when we have compressed anger, a lot of times it's shoved all the way down into the colon, you guys. So if you see widespread cancer of anything in a particular area, it's compressed. And you know what else rhymes with compressed is depressed. You have a lot of depression and compression because we don't know how to let it out by release and non-resistance. When we release and we become non-resistant to the rebirth process, we become deep in knowledge and wisdom that's infused from heaven. Mm-hmm. That's where you get the good stuff and you want to go, oh my gosh, this is life transforming.
I know. That's when the default's got to be play, put the music on. Just, there's nothing serious happening here,
Man.
right? Oh my gosh. You know, the mimic wants to keep us in such rigidity and seriousness and I'm right, you're wrong, I gotta prove my point. And again, it's resistant. And we wonder why. And we can do it with the best intentions, right?
We can.
Just like what's going on in the politics. Both of them have good intentions, I'm sure. But it's just, instead of humbling and receiving and hearing each other's sides and saying, maybe so, maybe that is a possibility. Instead, it's the fight to be right. And how often do we do that in everything, right? We get our new upgrade of revelation that we awaken to because it's a constant unfolding bloom. Next petal open, the next petal open, the next petal. So now we're staunch on this one. Now we're having to tell everybody about this one. Then we're into this one. And again, it's like our ego switched suits to spiritual ego, right? And it just gets crazy when if we'll just enjoy the process ourselves. And we don't even realize, do we, guys, how powerful our aura, our energy, it's like the saying goes, your energy meets people way before you ever do. you know, because you can feel when somebody walks in the room. And so when we're opening up and allowing ourselves just to be that bloom of awakening, I mean, how many times have people said, oh, there's something about you, or I can feel a difference. Yeah. Who are you? Or what is that light? You're shining, even though physically they can't see it, but you're allowing the bloom. And the key is, right, guys, with how nectar is produced is when the flower turns towards the sun, and the nectar is produced. And so then now the bees get the signal to start coming. It's a lot more effortless. But our ego doesn't like that because it doesn't get any payoff.
It does. I'm telling you guys, this is where the rubber hits the road here. You're not going to hear this in a lot of Sunday morning services. But first of all the big tithers will leave.
There's no mask here.
We don't want to. Yeah, we don't want to hear that stuff, right? But the truth of the matter is that if we don't go deep, we're not going to save this planet.
Yeah.
And we're not talking about environmentalism here. We're talking about we'll become extinct. That's how fast we're racing towards the end if we don't continue this rebirth cycle. And some people say, well, good, Jesus will just come back. No, he's already come back, you guys.
Back through all of
in
us.
all of us.
That is the second
That
return.
is the second coming. So if you're looking for a rapture, it's called rebirth. There's your rapture.
Christ in you.
Christ
the
in
hope of
you.
Glory.
Death, resurrection, over and over again. And then it comes to the point where you actually welcome it because you know the juiciness that comes through it.
Yeah,
This is why God says play as much as possible, right? Hum over hustle. Mm-hmm. The hustle of the ego wants to fix things. The hum says, hold on a minute.
Yeah.
I'm going to allow this cycle to cause me to become unconditional love in the earth without religiosity, without manipulation. And it's messy. You guys, have you noticed? Especially around the holiday season, it is messy, it's the triggers that make us go into the rebirth cycle
trigger
again.
mirrors. Oh, it's trigger mirrors.
Oh Lord.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a lot of humor involved when you want to take the medicine, right?
Oh my gosh.
You just open your mouth, take the medicine, and just laugh.
Yeah, I heard a really good thing. Was it just yesterday? I was listening to Jefferson Fisher. If you guys ever watch him on Instagram, he is so good. He's a lawyer, and he's just really good at giving you great communication points of how to address difficult people or toxic situations, and they're just nice and short, you know. And so he was sharing about how do you handle when somebody is coming at you or they're wanting to get in an argument with you or without getting into the ring. And he said, you step back and you look at it like a play being acted out or a movie. And he goes, you're sitting there eating your popcorn and you allow yourself to be entertained by it instead of reacting and getting into the ring with them. And you sit back and you're able to disassociate with it and actually see what's going on a lot clearer. But it's just like to have that image, like, wait a minute, I'm going to allow myself to be entertained by this. I'm going to get my visual popcorn and say, wait, okay, now what comes next? You know? Yeah. Make it playful, make it fun, instead of getting the hooks of the mimic that wants to pull you right into the ring with them so that they can get the energy supply off of you as well, because they're already getting it from the one person that's come at you. Now they want to get you in there so they can suck it off of you, right? And you're like, nope, I'm going to be entertained and see what's going on. And then you can simply, if you don't want to be in the conversation, keep your power and say, you know, I think I'm going to leave this conversation right now and maybe come back, you know, in a little bit later time. You know, it takes practice, we know, but it's a fun visual.
Yeah, it really dismantles the whole idea of the ego wanting to be right in the fight. Because if we look at this all from different levels of understanding, different levels of awakening, which is really fact, that is what's happening, is some people do not want change no matter what. And that's specifically for somebody listening to this right now. You cannot stand change, and that's okay. Just be open to the idea of this rebirth process, because when change happens and you experience something new, then it keeps you fluid enough to be an ascension model for the rest of humanity. And when we continually ascend, we become more like Christ, and then the more effortless things become, because now I'm becoming the receiver and I'm letting the Christ in me take care of it, which is much more fluid, much more of a quantum reality than I could even think or imagine. How many times, you guys, have you let go for a minute? I know it's hard to let go for a minute. It is for us too. But you let go for 60 seconds in your life. And how many often did that thing that you were believing for or wanting just come flying right in a way that you could have never thought possible?
Yeah, it's true. It's the wildest thing how that happens.
It's wild how that happens,
That's how
isn't it?
we met. You know, we finally surrendered wanting a mate, and then we meet each other the next day. It happens that quick often because, you know, there's no time and space in the spirit, right? God is just simply looking for that shift of your heart. And so it's taken longer than it needs to oftentimes because we keep trying to make it happen in our own strength.
Resist.
And trying to strategize, trying to figure out, well, maybe I need to adjust this. Maybe I need to adjust that.
Yeah.
And again, it
Haven't
goes
done
back
enough.
to surrender. Surrender and receive, and trust that God is that good. He knows exactly what you desire and what you need, and He has something probably even better, you know? So, when we surrendered, met each other the next day.
I know. It was amazing. I mean, it's all hovering right here in the quantum realities, in the field all around us. The field that we're made of, the very frequencies and substance of spirit all around us. It's hovering, surrounding us, hovering, and just ready, waiting for you. Can you just let the guard down? Can you just surrender for 64 seconds? You know? And then it'll come rushing in, come flooding in like a dam that was broken. You know, when you were talking about not doing enough, or, you know, we feel like we haven't done the right formula or methodology or strategy. I was thinking of this. Yeah, I was thinking of this well-known person I just heard of, well-known believer. He's in the sports world. And he was being interviewed by another well-known comedian. And the comedian asked him, well, we just haven't done enough, have we? As Christians, we haven't done enough. And then the football guy is like, no, we haven't done enough. He's like, I've been all in on my football playing. Well, why shouldn't I be all in as a Christian? I need to do more, you know? And it's like, hold on a minute. I was sitting back watching this video going, who's talking right there? Because it's not God saying that we need to do more. It's the ego that's stepped to the forefront of our lives that says, hold on a minute, I need to fix something. I need to be the fixer. And the ego can't stand not doing anything. We're wired to do through the do-do in our lives. The shoulds, all of the shoulding on ourselves. And we're not allowing ourselves to be the light, to be the love, to be the fruit of the Spirit, to be the receiver, so that it can go through us and get it done in quantum times and just take care of things. And when it's all said and done, it's like, because people take the scripture out of context. Well done,
oh, good and faithful servant.
you doing servant. That's not what it means. It says, look, enter into the joy of the Lord.
Delight
because
yourself.
you finally allowed the rebirth process to get you out of the way and become whole and integrated, so that I could pave the way, so that I could make a way where it seems to be so complex. Mm-hmm. Right, Ryan? So complex.
Yeah, that was good. Oh my gosh, so complex. And you know, it's just, again, right? And it's like, Janine, you were saying just yesterday, the whole thing about unless we become like little children. And I know that is like my favorite too, right? And that is the way in. A lot of times we miss the door because we're too busy adulting that we, you know, we're looking for the door, looking for the way. And the door, you got to look down because it's the size of a child that you enter in. and just to play. And what happens when we delight ourselves in the things of the Lord? It gives us the desires of our heart. And when we're delighting, our hearts open up. I mean, you look at all the amazing scientific studies, metaphysical, whatever. It opens, and now our receiver, the reception is online, and the connections can come in, right?
Yeah.
But when we're in that good old I will ascend. I will, it's just like, boom. It
The
just
five
goes,
I wills?
just goes horizontal, right? It just goes, it flat lines. And we go around that mountain until we get tired, and then we look up, right?
Yeah. It's really interesting. The more we see the reality of taking ownership. When I'm confronted with something, whether it's just the guy cutting me off when I'm driving down the road, or you never get more confronted than you do when you're married, right? And especially if you're both conscious enough to say, hey, look, we both want the best, we both want to grow, we want to expand, we want to ascend. Then you're a mirror to each other constantly.
Yeah, you really have to be surrendered, right?
And because we're both very vocal, and we bounce off each other. Thank you for the compliments too. Is just bouncing off each other. Yeah, we've really looked at one another, saying, okay, we want this, and we must have, before we ever came into these human bodies, we must have said yes, like to the millionth degree.
Oh my gosh!
Because
we want it all.
Because the rebirths that happen in us are
my gosh.
flipping every 2 seconds.
We're surprised we're still alive, you guys, and I'm sure you can say that for your own journey.
You can say
as
that
well.
for yourself, because
Oh,
you wouldn't be listening past 2 minutes on this video if it wasn't true, right? When we stopped blaming the devil in our lives, we're like, okay, when we stop blame shifting people, situations, circumstances, dark entities, the devil, all that kind of stuff, and we looked and we said, look, I'm gonna take ownership.
Yes.
I'm gonna take ownership of my reactions, my behaviors, my
huge step,
my
up.
Manipulative ways, and all those
What
things
I
that the
want.
ego loves to do. Then it's like, okay, I see what this rebirth thing means. We have to go through this, you guys. The earth does all the time, like we said. But when we are conscious as humanity, human species, go through this rebirth process, the dying, then the resurrecting, the dying, the resurrecting. What that does is it not only heals the ego, but it causes the ego to take its rightful place behind our spirit. We need the ego, whether we realize it or not. We just need a healed one. We don't need to kill it, because we'd be killing our survival self, right? It's what kept us alive through most of this garbage that we have to walk through sometimes.
Yeah.
But it begins to integrate, heal, and take its rightful place behind the spirit leading. And when that happens, it's like what Jesus did. He was tested at all points, yet without disharmony, without losing his harmonics. And when that happened, what he was saying is, ego, you know where you're at. You know where to stand. You know where to take your place. Allow me to lead the show here. Lead the life. When that happens, miracles explosive. Miracles happen. Amazing supernatural realities start to take place. But we don't understand that yet as a human species. Some are starting to awaken to that reality, saying, okay, hold on. Just because I'm going through this divorce, just because I'm going through this bad situation, because this financial issues, all of these things that we would deem bad, they're actually designed to cause us to resurrect in that area. Mm-hmm. So when we resurrect, guess what becomes erect? Is not only the human faculties, but in a man, but becomes erect is the righteousness of Christ in us, the righteousness of the kingdom in us, the righteousness of Eden in us and around us. That's what stands up straight, because that's what spirit is made of. But when spirit is a bent note, so to speak, not leading, depressed, compressed, then what's leading? The stank of the ego all the way down into the colon.
That does not want to look at the mirrors around in their
life. Doesn't want it.
So I wanted to read you guys one of my absolute favorite quotes by Peter Crone is this: life will present you, and we're talking about the mirrors, people in your life. Life will present you with people and circumstances to reveal where you're not free.
Oh, say that again, please.
Yeah. Life will present you with people and circumstances to reveal where you're not free. Oh,
we could just sail
and
on
how
that
often, you guys, do we want to run? I can't tell
man.
you that we get put in family situations
Lord.
Where we're just like, Lord, why? Why are we having to loop back around to this again? And he's like, because you guys asked for this and you forgot about it on your life plan for one. And then because, right, it's like what Graham Cook said years ago. If you want the fast track, the express way, the fruit grows best in the fertilizer, in the doo-dah-day. So, you know.
In the poo.
But it's so easy. You want to run because it's uncomfortable. And all along, God's like, no, this is going to actually give you the height and the expansion and everything that, you know, you're really truly desiring that you can't see, that's still operating in you, right? So it's like that pressure and compression that makes a diamond. Well, you got to experience the pressure and you know, all that kind of stuff until we yield to it and allow and become the receiver again and actually surrender to the process and allow it to mirror and reveal blind spots.
Yeah, you know, this is interesting because...
Oh, sorry, dear. And also, it's building emotional intelligence. This is something that's so key too, because not always is it he's trying to reveal something that's wrong in you. He's actually trying to build something, a skill. Like, I mean, you know, people need skills how to handle narcissists, right? Because if you're not aware how to handle a narcissist, you will be a victim. You'll be a victim to it. And it is masterclass training, isn't it? Especially with families or your workplaces or things like that. So just wanted to encourage you guys to not always think is like, oh, what's wrong with me now? What is God pointing out in me now?
Nothing wrong with us.
No, he's actually upgrading. It's a masterclass. And so, yeah, but go ahead.
Yeah, that's wrong comes out of a duality mindset, right? Wrong comes out of
shame,
evil and good, I'm bad, you know, and then that person's good. That all comes out of religious conditioning. It's when we're looking at bad versus good, that is complete duality. With the issue is not in whether we're bad or good. The issue is who are we really? Who is the real authentic John? Who is the real authentic Ryan and Chris and everybody else listening? Right. Who is the real Amy? And so when we look at the authenticity, you know, the experts, you've heard this before, the experts study out the real, and when it comes to counterfeit money, they study the real, not the fake. And so when we study the real, the genuine in us, and allow that rebirthing process to happen, and we understand it, then it's like, okay, there's more of the authenticity gets to show up. Yes, oh yeah, baby, honesty. I want that. More honesty, more transparency, more of the authenticity. Yeah, we want that in the world, don't we? Yeah. We want that in our job. We want that in ministry. We want that in the political world. Right. Man, imagine authenticity coming to politics just for one hot second.
Yeah, paradigms.
Could you imagine the paradigms that would shift?
Yeah.
Amazing. And I was just going to say real quick.
Go ahead. Yeah.
That how long have we often wanted so badly for a pastor or a minister or a boss to be honest for one moment about their life.
Yeah, without performance.
Without performance, without manipulating, without thinking, oh, I'm going to become weak so my sheep won't follow me if they see that I masturbated yesterday, or if they see that I had one wrong thought in my head 2 weeks ago, or I cussed somebody out in my head. You know, you guys, that's just not reality. Reality is, look, this is the process for us to be authentically revealed in the earth, the rebirth. And so when somebody gets honest, like a boss, for example, let's talk about that just for a minute. If a boss just would stand up instead of shining with their 5-piece suit on, standing there in perfectionism as if everybody else is in the hierarchical model down here, which they are in the system, right? Everybody's down here, and I'm up here. You do what I say. False matrix. If for one moment that boss, and I've only met a couple of them in my entire corporate executive experience, only met a couple of them that come in and say, look guys, I'm a hot mess today. Look, my hair's tore up and I needed 15 lattes before I got here, and here's what's going on. I'm having marriage problems. You know, and I just want to be real with you today, guys. I'm not on it today. I am not on my A game.
Thank you for your grace.
And so thank you for just, if I stumble all over myself, hey, that's how it is today. can you imagine the respect level that would go up from that entire team? It takes courage. And guess what? People would want to follow that person more than they would with the person coming in and just saying, look, the pastor coming in and saying, guys, this is, I know God. I know God. This is.
Yeah, when you can
no, you
smell
don't.
and see that they're tore up, messed up from the floor up. I mean, it's like,
It's like, when we say, I know God, really? I mean, think about the depth of that statement. You know God. You know all there is to know about all the facets of that diamond and that unlimited capacity. No, we know a portion because guess what? Our ego is leading the show most of the time, and it's veiling the authenticity of what it already of the knowing, the authenticity of the tree of life knowing.
Yeah.
The tree of knowledge is leading the show, then the tree of life can't reveal its leaves.
I know. I was thinking, how Christ was tested at all points, right? And so, and here he is literal perfection, but he was tested at all points too. So it's like, again, I want to encourage you guys that when you're in a really tough situation, it's not always because you've done something wrong or, like, oh, why am I keep attracting this same thing or, things like that. So it's just, again, it's part of the death and resurrection process, which is so beautiful if we look at it, because it's like a continual bloom into a bigger bloom into a bigger, you know what I mean. And so can we all just yield to it a little bit more? I mean,
can we all just get along?
I'm signing up.
So we're moving from fixer to receiver.
Oh,
can we all just say that together?
Loud.
Can we all just say that together?
Let's
act like we're in a church. Can you repeat after me?
Everybody close your eyes.
Everybody close your eyes.
Now raise your hand
if you don't know Jesus. Raise your hand. Or no, if you just received Jesus, it won't raise your hand. Anyway, can we all just say that together? We're moving from fixer to receiver. And this is a big one for the men. John.
Yeah.
John, you're moving from all five pointing back at me. John, you're moving from fixer to receiver, and it's through the beautiful rebirth process.
Yeah.
Beautiful. You actually become the very essence of, okay, now that I see this rebirth thing, man, I'm here for one thing and one thing only, is to become as much unconditional love as that authenticity shines through.
Start with yourself first, so that you're fully satisfied that it just oozes out on everybody else. Why are we trying to change people anyway? It's because we're not okay inside, right? If you're totally satisfied and filled and content, and you are just connecting with God, you're not out trying to change everybody else. There's something underlining that. You may have good intentions, right? Oh, well, I want them to experience what I'm experiencing. Yeah, but what if you're pulling them out of something they need right now that's waking them up? Yeah, I know. It's tough.
I know. Hey, this is especially hard for mamas. Mamas out there with their children, man. They become, hear all these things like they're ferocious mama bears and all this. They're going to go rescue a child before it's time. I mean, they're going to go rescue their child because they love them immensely. And, I'm joking, but of course, there's truth to that. There's truth to that. When we remove the godlike fixer and the God complex in us and remove ourselves from that, the hero complex, trying to rescue our own children, mamas, guess what? Somebody else comes along outside the family and says that one thing that you've been trying to tell them for 15 years, and boom, they have an awakening.
And then they come and tell you.
They come and tell you, and then you're like,
I've been trying
to rescue you. I mean, I've been trying to fix you. I mean, I've been trying to receive you for the last 20 years.
People and circumstances are mirroring areas you're not yet free.
I know. Oh, isn't this wonderful? It's like the stab in the arm with a big long needle of juicy goodness, not the vaccine.
That's a hard one.
Stab in the arm, and then they pull it out, and you got all this just juicy goodness, this love just flooding in you, because now we're talking about honesty. We're talking about authenticity. We're talking about reality of being the receiver. Who can we fix anyone? Yeah,
Oh,
Michelle, I know it's hard.
We got enough of our own stuff to fix, don't we? What are we doing?
Yeah, what are we doing trying to point out and trying to be the fixer in anybody else's life, situation, or circumstance? It's because we bought into this conditioning and this notion that we're the helper, right? We're to serve. We're the servants.
Yeah.
Let's just serve everybody. Let's go down under the bridge and give them all food when they don't even want it or don't even need it half the time because they all have EBT cards. And they want it for, their addiction. If we would just be authenticity, be the rebirth process in front of them, then they would see the power emanating out of our lives, and then they would run to the light. They wouldn't need any of that stuff anymore.
Bees to honey. Bees
Bees
to the nectar.
to honey in the synarchy.
When's the last time you checked your nectar? Is it producing? Are you looking towards the sunlight, towards the SON, or are you too busy looking and fighting all the storms around you and trying to be the sunshine in that, right? It's amazing. It's such a wake-up call, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
It is such a wake-up call. Yeah, fixing is so messy and not fun because then we have to rescue them again and again and again, right,
Yeah.
Janine? We have to do it over and over again. And then sometimes they learn, but again, we cannot
become dependent on
wake
you.
anybody up. Awakening is not for any human to do to another human.
But boy,
Boy, it's tempting, isn't
they can
it?
smell that yummy apple pie you put in the windowsill. And it's trailing down to them. They're going to come knocking on your door, kind of talk to you through the window, right? Fragrance.
Fragrance.
If we are emanating and we are having a great time, it's infectious, right? With laughing. When you see people that are having a great conversation or they're laughing in front of you in the line, you can't help but get that energetic hit. You start smiling and laughing.
And it's safe.
And
it's safety.
Yeah.
Safety. How often, let me ask you the question. I know it's a simple question, but how often do you feel safe around children? I would venture to say,
I know Janine's like, yes.
I would venture to say, unless that child is really acting up and full of demons. I mean, I'm just kidding. But you know what I mean. Just having a real temper tantrum, then you're just like, I don't want to be around.
Testy.
But for the most part, children, we feel safe around them because they are playful. They're infectious. Yes, they are. They are
beautifully infectious.
Yeah,
totally.
they are really the epitome of what Eden is, the kingdom is inside of us. And this is why Jesus said it way more than the Bible, you guys. There is references, there are books that talk about Jesus really encouraging and modeling this childlikeness that he talked so much about. And I would venture to say that the writers of the Bible, some of the interpreters, did not like that language. And so there should have been, in my opinion, more of that Edenic, playful, childlike language in the canonized scripture. Because it is the very nature of Jesus. The Jesus I know, the Jesus that many of you know, is a humorous, playful, fun, energetic, witty,
oh my gosh, so witty.
Jesus.
So
And
full of wisdom.
certainly not religious. That's why he came in on a donkey.
That's why the religious couldn't stand him.
That's why, yeah. Can you imagine? He was probably smirking and laughing, ready to fall off the donkey because he was having so much fun within himself.
It
going,
was offensive.
yeah, he's like, okay, look at this, guys. I'm going to get him with this one. And then laughing, right?
Like the fish. I mean, just look at this sense of humor on that where it's like, hey, Peter, just cast your net on the other side. He's like, come on, like seriously. Like, how's that even going to make, no, watch this. You know?
Watch this. Come on. I'm going to mess with him. I'm going to mess with him right now. How do we know that to be true? Because all of us have the most fun doing that to one another. Mm-hmm. In healthy ways, of course. But we love doing that with our children. Janine and Andrew were talking about how they were with their grandchildren. It was so much fun this time because of the whole
being playful.
And to the people that are so serious right now, can I just say that there's nothing serious going on in the kingdom.
There's nothing really seriously going on.
There's really nothing serious going on. Ego makes it serious. The false matrix makes everything so serious and complex. Like Ryan said earlier, everything complex.
It's an illusion.
Have you noticed that? Have you noticed that when you get real loose, having fun, laughing, something was just taken care of that I was worried about for the longest time. It just happened. How in the world did that happen?
Right. You get ding on your phone. You're like, oh my gosh, look at this. I've been waiting on this thing. And it just came through.
Yeah. Ding. My Venmo just went up.
Was open.
Oh, they're acting differently now. Wow. There's a whole lot of good going on in the world. In fact, there's way more good going on than there is the bad. We just listen to the news to see, oh my gosh, the news. That's why we don't watch it that much. I come across stories, and that's how I found out about Tucker Carlson and Candace and things like that. I only watch it for a moment, and then I get a message out of it. And it's like, okay, all right, just because somebody has had an awakening. Yeah, seriousness is deadly disease. Yeah. Dis-ease. It's dis-ease. Deadly. It's disease. And so just because somebody has an awakening and then the other person is not understanding, how many of us have gone through that? If I ask for a show of hands right now, all your hands would go up. You're like, how often have you been misunderstood because you were standing in a different location spiritually than the person that you were just with? You just had a divine epiphany, and then you blurted it out like most of us. You just shared it out of timing, or you shared the depth of it when it was meant to be pureed, and you shared that thing, and then now you're the enemy. Now you're a heretic. You're going to hell. You're going to burn in a hell that is not really what you think it is, right? That's for another message, you guys. Someday we'll talk about the hell that may not be what you think it is. Mm-hmm.
And a lot of you guys probably include into that already.
Yeah, a lot of us include into that. But I think hell is living in the ego and digging your heels in.
Yeah,
on earth. That is hell on earth, man, right there. Is digging your heels in and being so resistant and blaming everything, the devil and his minions, and your neighbor and your dog and your cat and the cigarettes waffling through the back door. We could tell you stories about that that would make your just cigarettes. Places we've lived and cigarettes that have triggered us.
Yeah, you open the door. Like even when we were living downtown Oahu, right? We get into our apartment and we're like, all right, okay, even though we're downtown, and we're like, oh, look at this. Like, we can see the ocean. So we step outside, and then all of a sudden, whoosh, right in our face. The neighbor right below us is just smoking one after another.
And it was prohibited in the building, but of course.
Oh, my gosh.
And what is that for? Oh, here comes another rebirth, honey.
Oh, yeah. Another trigger.
Here comes a mini rebirth. And if I make it, it's mini, but if I make it major, as they would say in Hawaii. I'm making this issue with the cigarettes major right now because, I used to smoke years and years ago when I was in the military. And so I get it. No condemnation if some of you still burn one off here and there or one right after another. Hey, there's no condemnation. But the point being is when you're wanting to smell the nice ocean air and the plumeria and the hibiscus, and you get a Pall Mall or a Marlboro waffle right in your face, then you're like, oh, okay. How much?
The injustice of it being allowed when it's not supposed to be. Yeah. You're like...
How much of the ego is still leading the show here, Johnny boy? How much is it fighting it? Or am I going to allow this to be a rebirth moment? Right. To say, ooh...
And we've seen this.
I'm not triggered by that. Wow. That hasn't happened yet, by the way, but I'm on my way.
But with other things that used to trigger us, when we finally just surrendered, released it, and received, then it moves on. It moves on. But
because
it's there to show you something.
Oh, right? This is a good one. I'm glad we brought that. Oh, no, and we got to go pretty soon because. Anyway, we keep going on all day, but we love you guys. That is a good point. Is that. We're conditioned. I don't know about you all, but we were conditioned in a certain denominational flavor that we were involved in to just start rebuking stuff that we didn't like, start rebuking things that we thought was dark. So, the more we rebuke, the more this has been years ago when this certain thing happened in Hawaii, but, the more I rebuked it, I'm like, I rebuke you, Marlboro cigarettes. I rebuke you. You dark foul, you lying dark foul devil, you! I command you to stay out of this apartment, right? Or this condo. And the more I did that, the more that guy's just went. and just blowing it right up there, right? And of course, I wasn't doing that so loud that he could hear it. I wanted to, but the more I did, I mean, he's just one after the other, just and just going through the whole pack, right? But then I thought the epiphany started happening. I'm like, wait a minute, hold on a minute. I need to be the receiver right now. I just need to allow.
Yeah.
And let them.
Let them. Oh my
allow
gosh.
and let them. Allow and let them. The more I did that, then the more the burning went off started ceasing. Isn't that interesting how that happens? Because now you're realizing.
It's energetic.
Yeah, you're realizing this is a rebirth moment. And it was just meant to see how I can still be triggered here. How often am I being triggered by this
How
smoke?
am I going to react? This is a test. This is a test.
The spirit of Marlboro, yes. I was casting that sucker out, Ryan, and it wasn't budging. The pack and all. I mean, he was not budging. And how often do we do this in our lives?
Oh,
we go to war in the heavenlies.
Off
yeah.
In traffic.
We go to war and it persists. That's because we're resisting it. Whatever we resist, what? Persists.
And it anchors us to that lower frequency. That's the whole plan of the mimic system, right? I'm going to trigger you and I'm going to keep you down, connected to where you're just vibrating with frustration. And then they're like, ha, we succeeded. We pulled you right out. You know, versus when we just like, oh, nope, surrender. Whoop, we go up into the higher frequency and now it's non-contact now.
Non-contact. You went to a different level.
Oh my gosh.
Anyway,
learning the game, right?
I think we better wrap it up there, dear.
Okay.
Just because we what did we do? We reserved this room,
Yes.
the soundproof room, for
Our
a while,
portal.
and our time's up.
We don't want to get a knock on the door. We've had that happen before. Like, hey guys.
So, yeah, we're still traveling a bit, but we're glad we could jump on, and we'll continue to as much as we can. Thank you so much for being a part of the Hum Over Hustle community.
Yes.
Thank you so much for our looking at our shooty designs.
Yes.
Keep looking at stuff.
And buying our books, you guys. It's so encouraging.
We're adding stuff
on
all
Amazon.
the time.
All your support. You're subscribing to us. It just, again, it is just fueling our hum big time. And we feel just the increase, just the spiritual connection with you guys, the heart connection, and just love you guys. We look forward to seeing you on here. So, all right. We will keep in touch. Keep us posted as well, you guys. Sending tons of love. We will talk
Stay tuned.
soon.
Have a great day in the rebirth.